right, good day, everyone, and welcome back to the Dr. Coach Show. I'm coming at you live from Southern California. Dr. Coach Daniel Pueblos here with my good friend Ricardo Gonzalez. Ricardo, how you doing today, my brother?
I'm doing good, Danny. How you doing, brother?
Doing well, man. It's been a while since I had an episode on the Dr. Coach Show. People get busy, things happen, right?
Right.
But I've been wanting to get some more people on the show, and just talking about their own journeys, and because it's something that we'll definitely get into with yourself. Um, is the stuff that you've experienced along your journey, the ups and downs, and to the person we see today, as this awesome film producer now, Ricardo Gonzalez.
Oh, geez,
With
thanks so much, man.
Yeah, don't be modest, man. Don't be modest. And we'll definitely get into your latest flick, the Malibu Horror Story, which I'm definitely excited to see here pretty soon. But one thing I did want to mention is that you and I go back a while, and it's been
Yes,
awesome.
sir.
It's been awesome to see all the great things that you've done, and not only professionally, but just
Likewise, brother. Likewise.
I
Yeah,
appreciate that, man.
man.
Yeah, so it's something you've accomplished professionally, and just even with your personal growth. So definitely great to have you back. Have you and see you again, man. I know we go back to high school, but
Yeah,
definitely
man.
get to see and talk to you again.
Oh, man. Thank you so much, man, for having me. And yeah, dude, going back since what, 10th grade on the football field? Like, geez Louise.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. No, this is awesome. I'm like gonna turn 35 in July. So it's been a minute, dude. So yeah, it's cool to catch up with you, brother. Thank you.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, I still remember those days back at Long Run High School, and hanging out on the little island by the library, and eating our our chicken sandwiches and Sprite and chips. That was our
Yeah, dude.
nutritious meal back then, right? So,
Yep.
so it's definitely awesome to kind of to see where you are. So like before we get into your the development of your career, into film, I definitely wanted to touch on something that occurred like towards the end, of like our high school time, during that kind of early 2000s span, where you were dealt some pretty shitty hands of life, where you were first diagnosed with cancer back in 2004 at the age of 17, and then your mom unfortunately got killed in a car accident in 2006. Cancer came back in 2006, and then back in 2007, you had the tandem bone marrow transplant. So a lot of stuff occurred in such a short period of time. Now, and I appreciate you sharing that with me, and we talked about it a little bit before before we started here, about how a lot of people might be going through a lot of stuff,
Yeah, man.
and it can feel lonely, and that's why I appreciate you sharing that. And that's why I appreciate anyone using their platform. And because, man, like, the bottom line is you're here.
Yeah.
Like, you went through that shit and you're still here. And whereas a lot of people might give up, you're here and you have persevered. So I want to say I appreciate that, man. Just proud as a friend of yours to see that. So, okay, talk to me about that, man. Like, talk to me about the adversity you face with all that happened during the early 2000s period. And I know you have some stuff going on even today, right? I mean, that's the messed up part about life. Things to be, things go shitty, and then things start going well, and then boom, life says, oh, like, it has a really messed up freaking way of doing things, where it's like, oh, let me throw you another wrench. Well, while you're
Oh,
kind of getting back up, So, like, talk to me, man. Talk to me about like the adversity that you faced, and now you continue to face, just like a lot of people, but with you specifically, and how it's helped shape you into the person that we see here today.
geez, man. Well, for me, dude, I was like 17 years old, so it was very, it was very hard to process and to understand what was really going on, because you'll have doctors telling you, hey, you have cancer and you have to get chemotherapy, you have to have a bone marrow transplant, you might not make it. So you hear these words and you're just like, uh, yeah, I hear what you're telling me, but nah, I'm gonna be okay. I know I'm gonna be all right. So you kind of have like these like mental like gymnastics that you're doing in your head to try to like psych yourself out of like what's really happening. So I'm kind of thankful for that a little bit. It was kind of able to like pump me up and psych me up for what was to come because, like I said, man, at 17, like you can't really be prepared for like chemo, radiation, that transplant, seeing that look in your mom and dad's face of them just like trying to be strong. And then you realizing that and you're like, oh shit, dude, this might not play out the way I think it is. And so you just have to stay positive. You just have to stay positive, man. Because if you put yourself in that like down in the dumps, like for me at least, I really believe that your mindset controls your health and the way you live and the way opportunities open for you. So for me, I was just like, oh man, I gotta stay positive. Gotta get there. I gotta get through this so I can be there for my family and so I can grow up and live hopefully my potential dreams. And that's how I went about it, man. And I know for a lot of people, it's really easy to get down in those dumps. You know what I mean? To like stay there because you just see just hills, just mountains that you're like, I can't climb this shit. But you just have to keep on fighting, bro. Even if it's a step, an inch, just move forward every day. And that's what got me through it, dude. And that's why I'm here today.
That's great, man. And that's always going to be a part of your legacy, right? Like whatever success, whatever you accomplish in your life, whatever you already have accomplished in your life, like that's always going to be part of your script, right? We talk about producing movies. This is your own movie that you've lived with and you're continuing to live with, right?
Oh yeah, man.
And like that's why I decided to like start off our talk today with that because when I was trying to figure out when I want, because I appreciate you wanting to share that with everyone, but the reason why, when I was looking to see when should we talk about it, I wanted to start off with it because I felt that all those moments of adversity that you face, along with other life experiences you've had up until that point, have kind of set the foundation for everything that you've done up until this point and everything that you will do continuing on even past today. I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Oh, of course, man. Like whenever I face a challenge and whenever I see something that's tough, it's just like, look, dude, like you've been through worse. Like you just have to keep on pushing. You always have to push yourself, dude, because no one is going to push you the way you push yourself. You know what I mean? Like you can't, there's not a personal trainer for life.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have to push yourself, bro.
No, that's for sure, man. And then you kind of like got back on that, so-called horse, right? And like, I know you kind of started off, you went to Fulton College back in 2008, I think it was, right?
Yeah. But as soon as I completed my treatments and the doctor said you're good to go, I wanted to get back to quote unquote like my normal life or like stuff that I'd missed out on. So I went through it. I went to 1 year of Cal State Fullerton. I got good grades. It's just I don't know, man. It didn't seem like it was for me. Like I felt like I was like, dude, what am I doing here? Like my passion is either making films or my side passion is cooking. I like to cook. And when I was a kid, when they put that paper in front of you, what do you want to be when you grow up? On mine, I still have it. It says I want to make movies. And so, dude, that's when I saw the opportunity, I took it and I ran.
That's awesome, man. And like that's what I tell people too. Even when it comes to like stuff like school, it's not for everyone. People have their different like journeys, different goals and paths, and you found yours, all right. And so, like when you finally came to that realization, after spending some time in Fullerton, like what was it that kind of like sparked that to get you started into the whole process of producing film?
Actually, one of my buddies had this guy that just won Sundance. He had a film called Old Man Music. And he was like, yo, man, I know you've always wanted to do film. I know you are not really liking the path that you've chosen right now as far as schooling. Like, talk to this guy, share some ideas, and maybe he can point you in the right direction to where you want to go. And his name was Scott Sloan, who is now one of my best friends. And he's the director for everything that I do. He showed me a script for Malibu Horror Story. And I read it within 35 minutes. I couldn't put it down. Like, oh my God. I was like, what the heck? I closed it up. I was like, who is this guy? I Googled him. I'm like, all right, what does he got? I saw the Old Man Music. I watched it. I'm just like, they're like, dude, this guy's brilliant. He's brilliant. Like if this is the opportunity that I'm going to get, and this is who I have a chance to work with, this is it. So I literally called him right back and was like, set up the interview, set up the meeting. Let's meet here with your guy. And I want to be involved. Let's do it. And dude, that was when like I knew. I was like, it was almost like serendipitous. It was like, dude, you want to make movies? This guy is literally saying, hey, meet this guy. He wants to make a movie with you. Okay, let's do it, man. So yeah, man, it worked out really well. It just I'm very picky as far as like scripts and like storylines and like where they go and how they develop. And this dude just checked every one of my boxes, bro. So I was like, yeah, we got to do it. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
So before we get to like that journey with Malibu Horror Story, like let's take it back a little bit. And like, I'm just curious, going back to when you first, when you were a kid and you wrote that you wanted to make movies, like what was that initial motivation? Like what was little Ricky back then, like thinking?
Oh, as a kid?
Yeah.
Dude, you're gonna laugh at this. I thought everything that was on TV and movies were real. And it was just like certain families that were chosen to like videotape their lives and like show it on TV. So I was like, wow, I was like, this family's just like every day they're just filming their life and like they go through these crazy stories. And like my mom and dad are like, no, this is fake. They write these stories. These are actors. Like you see all these names at the end of the story. These are the people that play it and wrote it. I'm like, huh.
You're like, Power Rangers are a real thing. Like I want to maybe be a Power Ranger one day, and I might have to go through some training, but that's what I want to do. Like yeah, because I remember that I was the same way. So I definitely hear you on that.
Dude, it was so funny that you mentioned Power Rangers. I know this is kind of nerding out right now, but like back in the day when it would do those transitions from obviously it was like the old footage from like Japan and like it would cross over to the new footage. You're like, why does that look different?
Yeah.
As a kid, that was like one of my questions. So like my mom and I'm like, why is that different? Why doesn't this match? Why does that look old? And they're like, well, it's a fake show. They made it prior in a different country and they put the action shots together with the new ones. My mom and dad, dude, I give them a lot of credit. They put me onto like what was really going on. They didn't dumb it down for me as a kid. Like they were just like, hey, no, this is what's happening. That's the company. You see Saban? Yeah, that's who makes Power Rangers. Yeah, dude. So that was a trip. So from the kid like aspect of just like wanting to know more, what it is, how it's created. Oh, what's a producer? Oh, well, the producer does this, this, and this. That's what I want to do. And so, yeah, so that was the aha moment as a kid. I think it was probably watching Family Matters. I was watching Steve Urkel. Yeah, remember TJF when it used to come on?
Yeah, man. Oh, dude, I talk about these with like my students that I teach, and they have no clue what the hell I'm talking about. What the hell is TJF? What the hell is Family Matters?
Oh, bro.
Step by step, or like those like those.
Dude, Boy Meets World, dude, that was my jam, bro.
Oh man, like going to Blockbuster on a Friday night kind of thing, get some popcorn, video game, movies, all that stuff, man. I'm like, it's something that we can appreciate, and like this newer generation, unfortunately, they won't be able to experience that. I know they have like one more Blockbuster is still alive out there, but it's still like different times, man. But yeah, definitely. I remember those shows, and I still love to like pull them up on Hulu and just start like binge watching some old shows like Family Matters, for instance, and Fresh Prince, all these older shows that we grew up with,
Oh, 100%, man. It's like it's that nostalgia effect. It takes you to like that time and place when you were a kid where you're waiting for your mom and dad to come home in the door and you're just like, they're home. It's like it's time for dinner and stuff, or like you're gonna watch like a family movie or something. I don't know, like that kind of jam.
Yeah, man, definitely. And so that's awesome. And that's all I'm always curious about. Like, you talk about characters in movies and how they have like their origin story, right? Like, I want to know about your origin story. That's what I was curious about. And so like from that time when you kind of have that spark to want to get into the industry, and just in general, and like up until now, like what have been some experiences, and you can include some like challenges, some adversity that you've experienced specifically working in the field, that you encountered throughout your time.
I mean, For someone that wants to work in film, like the one of the initial challenges that you're ever going to face is a budget. But like making what you have in your head and what you put on paper a reality. Because you can have the best story, the best imagination, like what you see in your head, but to actually physically make it, it's like you have to be very creative in how you do it and how you present it to kind of have somewhat of the image of you had in your head presented out there. So for me, yeah, like being independent, our first movie was $80,000, and I was lucky enough to where something had happened in our family, and they gave us a little bit, and so they were like, "Hey, here's some money. Use it to your advantage, and use it as the best opportunity that you can." And so when that was presented to me, I was like, "Okay, dude, let's do it." And so I was able to get it that way. But since then, it has grown from 80,000 to a $3.5 million film.
Wow.
And I don't know, yeah, and I don't know about you, man, but I don't got that kind of shit at all. So trying to get that 3.5 was a challenge because we have to be like, hey, we're up and coming. We don't really have a name for ourselves, but we have a great story and we have a great like base. Check out our base. And if you think you like it, invest a little bit and we can go further and then we can go on from there. And so, dude, that's what it was. That was the challenge of having to basically prove ourselves and prove that, yo, dude, this is what we're doing and it's actually legit. Like, you should take a look at this.
So, like, I'm just curious. So, like, what the hell did you have to start incorporating to get that number to go from 80K to 3.5 mil?
Well, dude, it was studio notes. So from the very beginning, we had this idea, and because our director had that buzz from Sundance, he had the attention of some key people in the industry. And so they're like, okay, so you want to graduate from a short film to a horror feature. Well, we're interested. Show us what you have. We'll look at it, and then we'll give you our notes and tell you if it's our quality or if it's up to our standards. And so we did it, and we showed it to them, and sure enough, they're like, oh, this is very good, but it's not our quality. You guys probably need to triple or quadruple the budget, maybe add some names into there, and actually extend it. We probably need another 20 minutes because you guys are running a little too short. So that was in 2012. And that was with Paramount / the Robert Evans Company. So Robert Evans is like a legendary producer for Paramount. If you see him, he's that guy that he's like super tan with his glasses. Like it's the best way I can describe. Just an old school cat, legend. So we were really stoked, and so we were like, "Okay, sir, whatever you need, we'll find this money. We'll get it lengthened up. They call it juice. Like we'll get it juicy for you. We'll get that juice in there." Sure enough, dude, we got it from 80 to 1.5. We got a little extra money, and so we reshot it. We got new actors, bumped up the quality, bumped up the locations, the props, the CGI effects. We took it back, and they gave us that look like, you're almost there. You're almost there. We're like, okay, well, what would you like us to do? And they gave us a whole nother set of notes. And I'm looking at my buddy Scott. I'm looking at the other producer and like the other associate producer. And this is going to cost another 1.5 to another $2 million, guys. And so we all had to look at each other in the room and say, so, all right, so what are we going to do? Are we going to pitch this as is and go with another studio? Or are we going to try to get this money and make this legit and just say, fuck it and go for it? And bro, I don't know if it was the blue ribbon floating around in the room, but we all looked at each other and we just said, fuck it, let's do it. Let's fucking do it. Let's just go for it. I don't want to be on my deathbed saying that we could have gone for it and shit would have ended up different. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like I said, I'd rather have pushed the envelope and said, fuck it, we tried. And so that's how we went, dude. And thank God, hopefully, things are going good, bro.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Yeah, it's always good to see the backstories. You know, especially all the stuff that you went through that, you know, people watching your movie will never know. You know, they're going to see this great flick, and they're not going to know all the stuff that's happened. That's, you know, the development of this film to where it is today. You know, I know like you went through the whole thing with Paramount and Robert Evans Company, and then you kind of like, you're kind of going through that developmental stage, and eventually, you had mentioned that like you guess you received those studio notes. It says like
Mhm.
we're around 2015 ish kind of time that says like
Yeah.
you need to shoot. So that's what we're talking about, that bigger budget that was needed during that time.
Yeah, that was the transition from making the decision from the 1.5 to go to
Yeah,
the 3.5. And so we really had to be like, okay, let's do it. And then this is what was even worse, dude. So, all right, so we get the money for the 3.5.
yeah,
We end up shooting it. We get everything locked in. We're getting it edited. This is about December 2019.
yeah.
So we're getting calls from the studio saying, hey, we're going to do a test screening. We're going to get them in there. We have the screening set up for March 20th, 2020. Well, as you know, COVID hit around March 13th, 2020.
Yeah.
And when that happened, dude, shut down. Everything shut down, dude. So we had to tell our investors, like, hey, I know we had a projected time and estimated of when we were going to get this in theaters and sold and out and going, but we're facing a pandemic now, and we don't know when this is going to clear up, or when movies theaters are going to come back, or if people will even be comfortable to come to the theaters. So, dude, yeah, that was scary. That was scary, dude. I felt like 10 years of my life was just like destined to be doomed. I was like, well, we got all this traction, we got it up to this point, and then literally God was like, we're going to put you on pause for 2 years.
Yeah, and that's like the fucked up part about for so many people, right? They had, I
Oh,
mean, I can't tell you how many like different like projects or businesses that I was a part of or that were starting right during that time, and then
oh,
just boom, like everyone shut down, right?
oh,
I
yeah, man.
mean, and it's a testament to like you and your crew, for having that like, all right, like now that things are getting better with COVID, that let's pick this shit back up, because like we didn't go through all that shit for nothing, because that was a lot. I mean, you went through a lot of all that transition, building up that budget, getting, doing what you got to do, to just
Mhm.
have it all thrown away. So that's awesome that you guys are able to do that.
Oh yeah, man. Like I'm just for the people out there. If you ever feel, I know this sounds like dramatic or whatever, but if you feel like you're cursed for some reason, like things just don't ever like work out. You're like, why does every time things are going well, it just seems to just fall down? Just know if you keep pushing through, things will get better. It's all meant for a reason. God doesn't put things in your place if you're not ready for it. It's all in due time. So just hang in there.
Amen to that, brother. Yeah, amen to
Yeah.
that. Yeah, no, I mean, I've definitely come across that a couple times in my life, where I'm like, shit, like just when things are going well, boom, I get hit with life, and then another life situation happens. So I definitely hear that. I appreciate you telling us that.
Oh, no
Um,
problem, man. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, because look, I mean, you're a freaking testament to that shit, man. I mean, everything you've gone through personally, and here you are. Like I said, you could have easily given up and say, well, fuck it, I'll just go to college and see what happens, or try, get into a trade and see what happens. And you're like, no,
Yeah.
I'm still gonna continue to follow my dream through all the adversity that you faced in the early 2000s to the fucking COVID hitting.
Yeah, man.
It's like, well, shit. I mean, if that all that shit didn't kill me by now, like I'm here, and so I mean, shit, man, you're a testament to that message.
Oh, thanks, man. I mean, it's just that when you live through that kind of stuff, bro, and that's, I think, what really propelled me to make the choices that I made in my life. It's like, dude, your life is not promised. Something can pop up tomorrow, and it's just like, that's a wrap. So anything you had planned, like, oh, I'll put it off for tomorrow, I'll put it off next year. I mean, sometimes that never shows up, dude. So for me, that was like in my face. I was like, whatever, dude. Anything I want to try or pursue, do it now while I'm healthy. While I'm healthy, like do it,
Yeah.
do it. Yep. So I don't know. That was just in my experience. Maybe it's a little rash.
No, I mean, it's true. I mean, I've always said that if COVID taught us one thing, there's a lot of lessons involved, but one major thing, at least for me, was like you said, tomorrow was never promised. I mean, we all saw and experienced how shit can hit the fan and just like that. just everything shut down. I remember like even like teaching on a campus one day, and then getting a call like get your shit and go. Like, and,
Oh
and
shit.
I'm like in the middle of my class, I'm telling my students we're done. I'll email you guys and let you know what's gonna happen next, but we're done. Like they're telling us go home, and so that's why I tell. And I have the same message to other people cause I get a lot of people asking me for like career advice, educational advice, or whatever. Um, and one thing I always tell them is like have a perspective of like imagine your like 95-year-old self comes back and shows up in a DeLorean with Doc Brown. Um, like what would they tell you right now, right? Whether you're trying to make a decision in your life or you're worried about something that may or may not be significant, like what would your future self tell you right now, right? And like like when you talk about decision making, whether to move forward, like even when your experience with your film, um, like your future self would have probably told you, hey Rick, like keep going, man. Like keep going. This shit is gonna, be great. I know you're going through a lot of shit right now. Just keep going, right? And so, like, if you have that perspective on life, whether it's making decisions or stressing out over things that maybe it's there's bigger fish to fry, right?
Right.
Like, because yeah, that's what you made that point of not having that regret, not having that, like when you're old and gray, and hopefully all of us live a long life to where we can reach this point where we're old and gray, look back on our life and say like, hey, you know what, my life wasn't perfect because frankly, whose life is, but I did, like Frank Sinatra would say, I did it my way,
It's one
right?
of my favorite songs, by the way.
Yeah.
Straight up, yeah, man.
And not having those regrets and say, you know what, like whether it worked out for you or it didn't, at least
At
right? At
least you
least
gave it your shot, dude. Yeah,
yeah,
that's my thing, dude. Like, I feel people like that's one of the biggest regrets. They never gave that shot to a particular thing in their life, and like, oh, I don't want that for me, dude. Yeah,
yeah. So that's why I appreciate your story and how far you've become. That's just why I wanted to bring you on. One of many reasons why is because that you've gone through that. You're a testament into like that kind of stuff that I try to help, tell people and help kind of guide them to that. Especially, the younger generations who are kind of up and coming and trying to start their own journeys, trying to figure out where that goes for them,
right.
because, you and I have some years under our belt now, we're not
Yeah,
little juniors, seniors at the high school level anymore. We're a little bit more seasoned now. We have a little more experiences,
yeah.
um, a little more dirt in our elbows, but and that's why I appreciate what you've done. And so like even what the growth that you've had in your experiences too, with filmmaking, producing. So actually, like, talk to me about that. Like when you are like, like you're going and you're on set or you're working on these films. Um, like if someone wants to know like what does a day-to-day look like for someone in your position or just someone in the industry in general, like what does that look like for you?
Oof. Okay. Well, if you're a producer, you're not getting any sleep. You're the first one there and the last one to leave, and you're basically making sure that everybody on set, which it being probably about 12, 15 departments, is doing their job. That goes from crafty, that goes from lighting, that goes to sound, that goes to director of photography, the director, the grips. Just making sure everyone is on point, doing their job to make the director's job easier. Because if they're not doing their job, that interferes with him, his vision, his flow, and that will mess up the whole project. So that's one thing that I really had to learn. Like, don't do things to make my job easier. Make the director's job easier. And so that was one thing that I really had to learn. Yeah, and something I had to go through experience to find out, not something that someone can just tell you. Like, oh yeah, just make it easier. But it's like, okay, how do you do that though?
Yeah.
So that's something you have to learn. Yeah.
Well, that's good, man. Because I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that want to get a start in the industry, um,
Mhm.
and they might not know, what kind of path they want to take. Um, and just like I would say, just like with most things, I think that definitely that firsthand experience is the greatest teacher you're going to have. Just like with a lot of things, there's so many things that you can read from like a book or a textbook or
Mhm.
something else. But I think just kind of that firsthand experience, like what you got, definitely
Yeah.
the best teacher right there for that.
Yeah, like for me, like I had no professional training. I didn't go to film school. I took a couple improv classes at downtown Fullerton. So like I said, I have no training like that, and I can't knock that because I don't have that experience and I can't give that opinion. But from my experience being on set and working with people, they would rather you have the experience than the schooling. It's like, dude, if you know what you're doing and you've been on set and you've done this a couple times, then yeah, go put some gloves on and lend a hand.
Yeah.
And so for me, I just felt like that was just the way to do it. Just immerse myself, just jump in. It's like, okay, let me know where I'm messing up. Okay, I'm
Yeah.
okay. I won't do that again. So I'll go do this. Or yeah, where do you need help? How can I help? What do you
Yeah.
do in your job? Like, how can I help you? Like, I don't know. That was just me. I like to get involved in every little department and be like, how can I help? Teach me.
Sure.
What am I doing? Yeah. So that's
Now,
what I did.
have you ever acted yourself? I'm just curious.
In the movie, the first movie for Malibu Horror Story, Big Mike was the character that I played.
Nice.
As the reshoots got in and the names and celebrity went up, your boy got left on the cutting room floor there.
Ah, damn. Oh, I cut you out, huh? It's like you're behind the camera now. Let's go, buddy. Yeah.
Yeah, so like in the new one, I'm literally in it for about 3 seconds. It's a party scene, and you just see me right there, like, and then they just cuts and it goes to the other characters.
Kind of
So
like
yeah,
you're kind of busting Alfred Hitchcock a little bit.
a little bit, dude, a little bit. But I'm hoping we have two shorts coming out after this, Limbo and Coyote, and I'm the main character in Coyote. So I guess I had to put in my dues a little bit to like actually get
There you
into the
go.
in front. So I'm excited for that, man. We actually start shooting that one in late July. So yeah, I'm stoked. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. And so,
Thanks,
like,
thanks, thanks.
I'm curious, and we'll talk about those if you want, in a second. But so, like, talk to us about your current, flick that you're pushing out there that's doing, phenomenally well, the
Thanks,
Malibu
man.
Horror Story. So, like, talk to me, like, what's the premise of the flick and what's it about?
All right. So originally, the story was about these four high school friends that they go on this camping trip on one of their friends' land. Like, it's like, oh, my grandparents have this land, guys. Like, let's go up there camping. So, like, all right, let's go. Well, it's land in Malibu. And if you start looking into the history of Malibu, that land was Indian land at one point. And so we kind of got really creative with it and tied it to almost like a true story. And we got the mayor of Malibu involved. We got Malibu High School involved. Like we have them at the actual graduation with their friends and shooting all this footage. So it feels like really real. And like we have a KTLA, like Rick Chambers in there, like giving the news report. So how to explain it, man? It's just with all those elements, people really are finding it interesting and like, oh my God, they get glued into it. So all these people at the festivals, like we've screened at 13 festivals and we've won 13 awards at these festivals.
Wow.
And for me, this is my first like run into this thing. But my buddy Scott, who has already done it, he goes, dude, just to get in 5, like as a selection is like a big deal. To win 1 or 2 is like, oh my God. So for us to be accepted into everyone that we've submitted, and we have a list of ones that we haven't announced that we've gotten into yet.
Uh-huh.
So it's just building and snowballing, dude. So we're just very, very fortunate, very blessed, and very lucky to do this, dude.
Sure.
Yeah, man. So
That's cool,
just,
man. Yeah,
yeah, man.
and I see, I see the stuff you put on social media. And so I'm like, oh, that's awesome, man. I know I'm always sending you messages like, oh, it's awesome,
Yeah,
I'm
man. Thank you so much for the support,
excited
man.
for you, man. Oh, always, man. I'm legit. I love seeing my people eat. I love seeing my
Oh,
people
right on, man.
eat. And like that's why when I see you doing what you do, I'm like, oh, that's great, man. So I'm curious, that you brought up like your time with screening this movie, and I can't wait to see it, man. I know I've been like trying to see it, and just schedule wise, I'm like, oh, I have to work that day or something, but like would this movie ever like? I mean, I know maybe it's a goal. I don't know. You tell me. But like as far as like getting into the big screen, like how if someone is like doing an independent film, like what usually happens like to those movies like during that process of like where you guys are to like the big screen, right? So like how
Uh,
does that happen?
I mean, well, as far as like now and like this day and age, dude, it's so easy to go straight to streaming because that's where, I mean, when you put all that money into a project, and fortunately, towards the end, it becomes more of like, okay, we need to recoup what we invested into this film. So
Mhm.
how can we sell it, get our money back, and on to the next? And so that route, streaming is like the most profitable and probably easiest way to get that going. But
Mhm.
for big stream for us, that's why we're doing the film festival run. We're
Yeah.
trying to get that notoriety, and for the business and people that are actually going to these festivals to say, hey, maybe this would work on the big screen, to get those people attention. And that's what we're doing, man. So we're just thankful enough to have a project that's actually building traction and winning awards to get this attention. So I guess any advice that I can give to anybody out there is just uh, just put your heart and soul into it. Just try to make the best project you can, because at the end of the day, that's what you're putting out there and representing as you. So if you feel like you deserve these awards, then you got to put in that work. Got to
Yeah.
put it in. Yeah.
I mean, the fact that the film has gone 13 for 13 says a lot, you know.
Yeah,
Especially, I
man.
know, like, talking to someone, it seems like, I mean, I'm not too familiar with the industry. I mean, I love movies, like, like, having someone that has been through it, like your buddy has, um, and saying, like, hey, like, this shit's real. This, like, this isn't some fluke. We're doing some good work. I'm sure that kind of makes you feel good, right?
Oh, 100%, man. Because me going into it, I mean, I was stoked off the one. I was like, dude, we got one. And like, he's like, calm down, bro. We got a whole list coming up. And once we start seeing if we get in, that's one thing. If we start winning, that's another beast. So
Yeah.
I've been very fortunate to have like that big brother, just like to calm me down and keep me grounded. Like, hey, dude, calm down. Don't get excited yet.
Yeah.
So, but the one that really made me proud and excited, dude, is we just won the Milan Gold Awards. It's a Milan International Film Festival in Italy, and we
Wow.
just won. We just won one there. So, like for me, I've never been to Italy. So it's the
Yeah.
fact my film has been there and it's winning, and people like know, like they've seen my name up there. I'm like, what the heck? Like this is dope. This is awesome. Like, what the heck?
Yeah, you go, Mr. Worldwide over here, man.
Oh, bro, it's just snowballing so
That's so
fast,
good.
man. Yeah, so I'm just very thankful and blessed, and just like trying to like do extra good karma like anywhere I can. I'm like, oh, let me help anywhere I can. Try to
Sure.
build it up, dude.
That's awesome, man. And
Yeah.
that's only the start. And I'm you guys have more festivals lined up?
Yeah, we actually have the First Glance Film Festival coming up on May 13th. That's in North Hollywood at 7:30, which, by the way, I'm sending you the invite to. Let me know how
Yeah.
many tickets you need, bro. I got you. I got you.
Hey, appreciate that, man. Yeah, that one I should be able to go to. I'm like, I checked my schedule. I'm like, all right, we're good. So, man, if
Let
it
me know,
works,
man.
I'm going. Yeah, for sure.
Drinks on me, brother.
Sounds good, man.
But
So,
if you
like,
can't make that one, man, we also have one in Riverside coming up at the Riverside International Festival, Film Festival. I believe that one is April 21st through the 25th.
okay.
So if you guys want to go, let me know.
There you go. There you go.
Yep, yep.
And so, like, say that you have someone that is starting, wanting to start their careers, wanting to do what you do, and say, "Oh, that's awesome!" Like seeing the success that you're having. Um, what is something that you would tell them to get to get their foot in the door, to get their first like taste of the industry?
You have to surround yourself with creative and with the same amount of hunger that you have type of people. You know what I mean? Like make sure everybody around you is hungry and is striving for the same goal. Because on days that you don't feel motivated or you don't feel like you want to work, those people around you will push you and keep you going. You know what I mean? Like I know I said earlier, like you have to push yourself, you have to push yourself. There's some days where like that's just like, dude, your gas is worn out. And that's the friend that comes in and is just like, hey, dude, we got to get this going. We got this going over here. We have this pot going over here. Like, we got to keep the fuels going or the flames going. So if you're getting into this, just make sure you get those hardworking people around you so that you can all lean on each other to build that dream.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. I mean, that's great advice for anything, but yeah, definitely, especially with the film industry. So I appreciate that. So getting away from film, man. So like when you're not, shooting or we're not working on a piece, what does Mr. Ricardo here like to do in your free time?
Oh, dude, I recently got into golf, so I've been golfing a lot.
Oh,
So I'm going to like Brea 9 or Birch Hills or Dad Miller, just going out there trying to get my game going, even though it's horrible right now.
probably better than mine, man. It's been a while to myself, but that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, I do golf, frisbee golf. I like to play music. Like I play piano and I play the guitar, so just to like zone out and not think of things, just jam a little bit. What else? And then I know it sounds weird, when I'm not working in film, I like to watch films. So like I'm a horror film buff, so anytime there's a new horror film, me and my fiance Danielle, we just pop it on and we're like, all right, let's check this out and see what kind of rating we give it. Like, we have our own little like rating system, review system.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And then cooking is one of my favorite passions. Yeah.
There you go. There you go. When you getting married? Congratulations, by the way. Yeah, when you getting married?
Oh man, well, we had everything set up prior to COVID, and so we had to cancel all those stuff because they didn't know how long the venue was going to be canceled for. So we got our money back, and then when we called, okay, we're ready to go. They're like, it's a 2-3 year waiting list now because everybody is now trying to get this venue and everything opened up. So we kind of got a little screwed on that one. So we're just gonna wait until things settle down. Hopefully everything goes well with the movie, and instead of doing a little boo-boo $10,000 wedding, then we do a little something.
There you go. There you go.
So we're just fingers crossed, man. Yeah.
That's awesome. No, and trust me, I know firsthand how that goes. My wedding got postponed 3 times, and postponed 3 times. So thankfully, we're able to have our wedding back in July of last year, 2021. With the smaller group that we initially wanted, but we're just like, hey, let's invite our immediate family, a couple of close friends, and let's just do a damn thing, because like we said, tomorrow's never promised. Like, let's get this shit done. Let's get married, and let's start our life, because we had to wait like another year and a half, and we're done waiting. It's just too long, So
yeah, that's where we're at right now, bro. Where it's almost like we might make that trip to the courthouse really soon.
That's awesome. Well, hey, if anyone out there wants to reach out to Mr. Ricardo here, you can reach him by email at Ricardo Emanuel, Emanuel Gonzalez at gmail.com. If you have Instagram, if you have IG, give my guy a follow at I'm Big Rick. That's I am as a Mary, Big Rick, RICK.
Yeah, we have 2 films after the shorts that we're going to shoot. One's in South Carolina, and then one's going to be in Arizona. They're 2 horrors. We're shooting them for both $50,000 a piece, so they're going to be lower budget indie films. If anyone's out there interested in either joining on the crew, interested in investing, you hit me up and we can talk about it. I can send you scripts.
Well, there you go. There you go. Hey, if you're looking for that star, talk to my guy. But hey, man, I appreciate you taking the time out today. It's always great catching up, man. And just keep doing what you're doing, man. Keep achieving the success you are. Keep being the example for perseverance, because you are a testament to that. And I'm definitely expecting, and in a good way, great things from you. So I can't wait to see that. So thank you so much for coming on the show, man.
Oh, no problem, man. And likewise to you, man. Like, you're an inspiration as well. I mean, me and you both being Hispanic, man, you getting your degree, being a doctor, like, that's very inspirational, bro. I mean, for me, just seeing my people, like, you said you like to see them eat, bro. You made me proud when you did that shit. So, like, thank you, brother. Thank you.
Respect, my brother. Respect. So, all right, guys. Well, thank you for tuning in to this edition of the Dr. Coach Show. Thank you again to my guy, Mr. Ricardo Gonzalez. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you.
Later. Thank you for having me, dude.